Hello, everybody. It's week 6 of our video discussions, and I found this assignment to be pretty fun. The ProQuest historical newspapers. I think it was a lot of fun to go through old newspapers. And the one thing for us, it's history, but to those people reading the newspaper at the time, it was current events. So it just makes it super interesting. But I chose four. I found four articles, and they're all on Winston Churchill. And the first one was from the Washington Post. It was March 24th of 1939. And he says that Winston says Hitler errs in belief the British won't fight. Now, this was before he invaded Poland, and there was Neville Chamberlain had gotten a decree from Hitler saying that he had no other, other than the Sudetenland, he had no other aspirations for other, territory. But however, Winston wasn't even in government at the time, and he was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense, because he knew that Germany had built a strong air force and a strong army, and it doesn't make sense. But anyway, so before the war even started, on March 24th, 1939, he appeared in an article in the Washington Post where he says Hitler errs in the belief that the British won't fight. Now, the next one was from the New York Times, and it was September 9th, 1942. And him and President Roosevelt began, trading correspondence back and forth. And they had meetings, but in September 9th, 1942, Churchill pledges full aid to Russia. And he and the President Roosevelt, they hint at a second front. Second front opening up, like they didn't say the invasion of Normandy, but Stalin wanted a second front to open up because he wanted a little relief from the Germans on his side, and that was in the New York Times. And then the other article was from the Associated Press on June 13th of 1944, and Churchill visits Normandy. He visits the front, goes to Normandy and talks to the troop and sees the troops. How many? Let's see, it was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 7 days later. 7 days later from D-Day, he goes and visits Normandy and visits the troops. And the last one that I chose, it was from the New York Times, and it was March 6th, of 1946. So it was after the war. And Churchill came to the United States, and he spoke at Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri. And this is where he gave the Iron Curtain speech. There's an Iron Curtain descending on Europe. That's where he gave that famous speech. And so the four articles we're all about Winston Churchill, and it made a lot of fun because he's one of my favorite people to study. And to leave you this week, I remember, hearing a long time ago, I don't know if it's actually true or not, but I heard it a long time ago that Winston, he used to like to go out in London and let the people see him. And, they would get bombed at night and get bombed, but he wanted to be out there and be the face of the country, and make the people feel like they're going to win the war. But his wife, he goes out to talk to these people on the street, and his wife was with him, and he was talking to these people, and his wife said, "Well, excuse me, hon, I'm going to go over and talk to this guy." And there was a guy over there sweeping the street, and Winston continued talking to these men that he were talking to. And then later, he gets back with his wife, and Winston said, "Well, who is that?" And she said, oh, I went to high school with him. And so Winston kind of chuckled because the guy was a street sweeper. Winston kind of chuckled and said, well, aren't you glad you married me? And she said, well, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, I'm the Prime Minister of Great Britain. Aren't you glad you married me? And she said, Winston, if I'd married him, he would have been the Prime Minister. That was just one of the stories that I heard about Winston. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.